It's funny, that thought process of I have to make the most of this opportunity and close this. And then the self beat up that comes just inherently, because not every single person that you ever communicate with is meant to sign into your offer. Right. If you don't have the developed skill set and the parameters and the understanding of a well-executed sales process, you'll go into self beat up, when if you know that you did everything correctly and it doesn't close, you can detach from that. And it's like, hey, totally cool. That's just one of the numbers that goes into my data tracking spreadsheet. And you get back on the horse.
Oh my God.
It took me way too long to get that.
That right there is so, as we say, juicy. Why do we use that word all the time?
I don't know. I think that's a Brad word.
Probably. That was so good, because you're right. Like and like anything in life, if you know you did everything you could do, you can rest easy that you did the best you can. But if you don't have the right direction, the right mentorship, the right, to develop those skills, you probably are going to beat yourself up, because you don't even know if you did the best you could. So exactly. That's a really, really good point. I love that. I've almost spent $20K just on sales programs.
On just sales programs alone, or all the different things that you've done?
Those were just 2 sales programs.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. What do you think the big total is? Are you over 100?
I have invested well over 100 grand.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Over the course of 3.5 years. You know what? I am an all-in person. I'm a take the leap person. I knew what I wanted, and I was willing, and I was willing to put my ego aside, be coachable, recognize, like, I don't know any of this. I see the potential. I see what I want. I see the kind of impact I want to make in the world. And what I know as a therapist of many years, I know how to help people, but I have no idea how to have these very important sales conversations or invitation conversations or whatever you want to call them. Mm-hmm. And I have invested a lot. And you know what? Not just money, but time. I mean, I work my ass off, and if you want to be an entrepreneur, be prepared to work a lot and not get paid for it immediately. But I hit 6 figures cash collected.
That's the only real number.
Yeah, cash collected, right? And it was specifically, it was like 140K. And that was basically from March, because I closed my practice during my psychotherapy practice, which was also 6 figures cash collected practice. Mm-hmm. And
so a scary leap to kind of abandon that you've spent so much time to build up, to go into a whole new world of possibility.
Terrifying. Yes. Not really terrifying, scary, exciting, scary, and
not terrifying, just like scary and really scary.
Terrified is like, but the only reason why I was able to do it really was because I was working with a great coach whose name is Jacqueline Yvette, and I don't mind plugging her because she's amazing.
Oh, she's fantastic. That's why I've brought her into the program to teach stuff too.
Yeah, she and Brett, I mean, it takes a village to build a beautiful business, and you can't do it alone. there's just no way you can DIY it unless you want to go insane. And I don't even know how people do that. They probably, I don't know, don't. So I would rather invest in myself, the quickest way to get to where I want to go. And yeah.
Mhm.
And so there was a plan in place. You know, it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to close next month or something, or tomorrow. And I stuck with the plan, even though I hadn't replaced my income. Stuck with the plan, followed through with the plan, did it. And then in the first 6 months of this year, I hit 6 figures cash collected. So I shrunk that timeline by 6 months.
Nice.
So nice trajectory, right?
Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, lots of lessons. But I have to say, like, back to your program and your course. I mean, you know, we know each other. I know you. I feel like I know your heart, and you coached me before. And when I saw that you were doing a program, I was like, yeah, I am definitely doing that. And your program is
terrible. No
bad.
promises, no guarantees, no refunds, no nothing. Why would you be so crazy as to like jump into something like that? I'm abundantly clear. I make no promises or guarantees. I can't do the work for you. The only thing that I can say with like integrity is that the materials are there. That's it. I can't do the work for you, and there's no refunds. So why did you actually even join? I mean, aside from, you know, you mentioned to me like, hey, the price point was a no-brainer, but
well, the price point and knowing you and knowing your level of expertise and knowing what kind of person you are. And first of all, the one program that I paid multiple thousands of dollars for, it was just a course. It wasn't like I mean, there was like a Facebook group or something that I never had time to go in.
gotta love those.
Yeah. And it was a course, you know, I don't know what to say. Like, it was, you know, there were like after the end of it, you felt like you were in school, but there were never any actual like sales calls or videos of sales calls. And that's one of the things that I love about your program is that you have a video for like every circumstance.
Yeah, it still blows my mind like how many people love to just talk about how great they are at what they do and then teach from that place without ever actually showing any practical application. I was like, you know what? It'd be the easiest thing in the world to dominate with a sales course if I actually show people what real calls look like.
There you go. I heard
how
testimonial.
simple.
I heard the testimonial yesterday, and I can't remember his name. I'm sorry, but he said, and Grant actually shows us videos. And what's so cool about being in this first run is that we're all in Slack, and it's a really great vibe in there. First of all, this is the first program I've been in that has used Slack, and I love it. I'm going to use it for my programs.
Doesn't it just kick the crap out of Facebook groups?
Oh my God,
when you really get down to it?
Yeah, it's really great.
Yeah.
Great idea. And what was I going to say? Oh, really good vibe in there. And if we have questions like, hey, I just got off a call and she gave me the husband objection, and it was just like the way she said it, I wasn't really sure. You're like, I have a video for that. I'll have it up for you by tomorrow. And you do.
Yeah, I know.
It's amazing. There's literally, I've never experienced that.
It's so funny to me. Like, these are the simplest things. Like, just do what you say you're going to do and show people what actually works. But
The thing
Hey.
is, you said practical application.
Yeah.
And here's the thing that annoys me about these other programs that I've been in is, first of all, they talk about it like from a very philosophical perspective, like all these scripts and all these like trees. What are those called? Like if they
Just
say
like
this,
logic
you do
jumps.
this, or
Yeah.
they,
In the
you know, it's like,
perfect
what?
possible case scenario, this is
Yeah,
how it'll look. Well, what happens if it doesn't go that way? What do I do then?
exactly. Or like to be fair, like, one salesperson isn't necessarily equivalent to another salesperson. Like when I'm in a program with professional sales people and setters, I'm not at that, like, that's hard to relate to. I don't have the same problems that they have.
Mhm.
Like I don't even know what kind of world they live in. I'm just trying to get sales calls, right?
Yep.
And so when I actually do get a sales call, and for newer coaches, that's a huge win to actually, like, oh my God, that's so exciting. You got a sales call. Like, you're not going to be like, you want to make it count. At the
Yeah.
same time, so for me, it's really easy to watch videos of other people doing sales calls, because one of the things they always tell you in these programs is, you have to practice, you have to practice. Well, like, it's hard to get the sales calls at first, right? Like,
Yeah.
how am I supposed to practice? I'm only getting like one every 2 weeks or something, and it's not going that well. I don't even know what one actually looks like.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah.
it's a big difference too from seeing something on paper to experiencing how it looks woven into a process, like
Yeah.
actually happening. Because it's not always the same. So you need both, in my experience. I've been through a lot of different programs and stuff myself too. And things where I felt like, oh, that's really valuable. But then I would go to apply it and I just couldn't, and it didn't work. And I was like, well, maybe the tactic sucks. It doesn't necessarily.
Right.
Some do, some don't. But being
Right.
able to see how it's applied for me was the biggest thing. So that was one of the main components. Like, it has to be in this process for it to work for people, at least that are like me, where things don't necessarily come easy and I have to actually understand how it comes together before I can make it work. So
I don't understand you saying things don't come easy to you.
it's not like I just woke up one day and, have my sales teams close over 60% on average. This has been a 5-year process. I've invested a
Yeah.
lot of time, effort, energy, money, blood, sweat, and tears, and learned the principles and the frameworks and stuff along the way that work. But it's not like my first sales call was great. I can still
Yeah.
remember selling a $1,500 fitness program back with an old fitness business in 2016. And I had this script that I was supposed to follow. And I literally had huge pit stains after the call. And I didn't close it
Yeah.
because I was just so nervous and it was all brand new to me. But it's, with reps and time and understanding, things do get easy. So now you look at me here and it's like, it seems like it came easy, but it didn't. I just had good mentors and kind of
Yeah.
figured out processes that work, that you don't have to be all that skilled to implement. Because there are some people where sales comes naturally to,
Mm-hmm.
and there are some that it doesn't. And because it didn't come naturally to me, I feel like it makes it easier for me to teach to people, where it's like, I can't sell ice to an Eskimo right now. What do I do?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm really curious to know, just from your own perspective, because it helps just personally for my feedback. I mean, one of the main intentions with the way that I've been putting this course together is to provide an experience that compels people to refer their friends and bring in colleagues and stuff. And, you're someone now that's brought in a couple people.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know what it is specifically about your experience so I can double down on that. That's actually compelled you to do that. It's compelled you to bring in like clients of yours into the program.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's all about what we were just talking about, right? Like the simplicity of it, the breaking. So my clients are like newer coaches. They're not used to having like higher level sales conversations, and they just, I want to make it simple for them and not overwhelming and not feel overwhelming. And, as you know, it's a combination of lots of different things, right? Like your state, being unattached. And, you talk about that in your program, and also actually seeing sales calls being broken down, not only a successful sales call of varying, like, successful sales calls can go lots of different ways, right? And end in the same place. But calls that didn't close, or two call closes or whatever. And I really want them to be able to see actual examples of sales calls. We can go over their sales calls. They can, look at mine, but for them to see you doing these calls and also stopping and talking about it. And then that's how I learned actually sales. The most valuable lesson was my coach going through my sales call and stopping and starting, commenting, stopping, commenting, starting. And that's what you do in some of your videos. And so I really wanted them to have the experience of you teaching in that way. And also, once I got into the community and I got into the Slack channel and I saw like how engaged the community was, I wanted them to experience that too, because that's part of it too. Like, a lot of people don't want to join groups because, they're just like, I'm not group people, a person or whatever. But if it's a really good group with a good vibe, it can be a really amazing experience. And so I saw that as I was in there for the first couple weeks, and really wanted them to experience that. And I will continue to send my clients to your program above anybody else's, actually, because of the value that it provides, and just the understanding too, like what you just said about, it didn't come easy to me, and you do have to practice, and like this is 5 years in the making, and it's been a lot of time and energy spent. Like, that's the reality of it, right? Like, you're not gonna, I remember the other day you said something in the Slack, in the Slack about like, look, like, you're not supposed to close every sale. And that's just not the way that it works. And I thought that was really good, because I know my clients, and I have too, like, put a lot of pressure on themselves when a sale doesn't close. And it's like, for like a brand new person, just being introduced to sales, like 30% is like kind of unheard of for a brand new person, so you're not supposed to close everyone. But I do think it's hard, because it's hard enough to get people on calls, especially when you're just like getting into the industry. So
it's funny, that thought process of, I have to make the most of this opportunity and close this, and then the self beat up that comes just inherently, because not every single person that you ever communicate with is meant to sign into your offer. Right. If you don't have the developed skill set and the parameters and the understanding of a well-executed sales process, you'll go into self beat up, when if you know that you did everything correctly and it doesn't close, you can detach from that. And it's like, hey, totally cool. That's just one of the numbers that goes into my data tracking spreadsheet. And you get back on the horse.
Oh my God.
It took me way too long to get that.
That right there is so, as we say, juicy. Why do we use that word all the time?
I don't know. I think that's a Brad word.
Probably. That was so good, because you're right. Like if, and like anything in life, if you know you did everything you could do, you can rest easy that you did the best you can. But if you don't have the right direction, the right mentorship, the right, to develop those skills, you probably are going to beat yourself up because you don't even know if you did the best you could. So
Exactly.
that's a really, really good point. I love that. Mhm.
Yeah. In fact, we even just dropped a little bit of value there for you. So this
Yeah.
is a new way of thinking about things.
Yeah, totally. I mean, totally. It's
Take it to
true.
heart.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, it's a really, really great program. It's a great community. And it's not easy sometimes it's not easy to lead communities. And you do a great job.
Well, that means a lot. Thank you. I
You're
wouldn't
welcome.
necessarily consider that to be one of my main skill sets, but I just love being around good people that are on a mission and actually do what they say they're going to do. Like that's my kind of people. If you don't
Yeah.
have the skills yet and you just need the support to develop them and the accountability and the systems and the structure, I've got you. And that's like the most fun thing for me to do. So it's not effort to do this. This is the passion project for me. But I really appreciate that affirmation. I totally received that.
You're welcome.
I got to
Well,
ask as we get ready to wrap up. I have another call at the top of the hour. I can't believe we've already spent this much time together, which I love and appreciate. Of course, the marketer question I have to ask, what would you say to anybody thinking about joining this program with no promises, no guarantees, no refunds? What would you say to someone like that other than you're probably crazy and maybe you shouldn't do it?
Well, actually, what I would say is if you go into anything looking for like there's a little piece of you that's like, oh, well, I could get a refund or I need a promise, or then you probably shouldn't join any program really.
Yep.
So this might not be the right program for you, but that said, yeah, it was a no-brainer for me. And no matter what level of sales you're at, if you're looking for great information, amazing support with an amazing community that will support you no matter what, yeah, it's still a no-brainer.
Sweet. You heard it straight from Marianne, not from me. I didn't say it. If you got questions, if you're looking for guarantees or refunds, don't do it. It's probably not for you.
Yeah,
But,
go to Mind Valley or whatever.
Oh, shoot. Get a job instead.
Yeah.
This has been
You
fun.
are your
Thank you.
guarantee. You are your own guarantee.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you so much, love. It's great to see you.
Great to see you too.